Today is Saturday, September 4th, 2021. It is 3:04 in the afternoon. I work tonight. Going to be going in. This will be uploading. This will be the only video content for the day. Yesterday's uploads were 2 from the day before and 1 from yesterday. Immunity was from yesterday, and Saki in Afghanistan were from the day before. This one will be a little bit different. You learn about events, you hear about things, you forget about things. Time passes, something is not, the most immediate, priority in your life. It's just some pop culture thing or whatever. I'm going to tell you the story of 2 techno groups, artists, musicians. One extremely famous, one not so much, but still has actually nowadays probably a larger following, but like an active following with active content, but the other one became legendary because of a movie soundtrack. I think we're nearing the time of getting a new cigarette machine. This one does not always work right. So, this story stems from a comment that I literally just left on a reaction channel. It's called Fish Out of Water series. The gentleman that does the channel goes by the name Trey Narcisse. Apparently he has numerous channels. I think maybe some of his channels have been struck down or something, much the same as Weeaboo's. There was Weeaboo Reacts, and then Weeaboo, and then like there was one called Weeby. Now there's just Weeaboo. Kind of, in some ways, an outlaw reactor, because they do their thing, and they deal with what happens, and if they have to change channels, they change channels. This dude grinds, though. He puts out a lot of videos. He has patrons that pay him for reactions, and he does a lot of reactions, and he gives honest reviews. It's pretty cool. So, I'm scrolling down my subscriptions here a little bit ago, and I see a reaction channel. This guy reacting to somebody's metal guitar cover of a song called Techno Syndrome. And I'm like, nobody reacts to Techno Syndrome. Click. And the song was decent. And his reaction to it was like, now I don't think I'm going to be able to think of the Mortal Kombat theme without hearing this. It's like, oh, cool. The guy had skills. So, Techno Syndrome is a song. It is copywritten by a group called the Immortals. The Immortals themselves got into legal battle with Midway because they originally did not pay for the samples for the Mortal Kombat character select. See, when you play the game in the arcade and on most of the home consoles, you would have a character select screen with a bunch of little faces, and each face is a different character you can choose. Character select. Da, 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 da. So you move the little cursor to the one you want, hit the button to select, and you hear the name of the person you chose. This became a staple in fighting games. Pretty much every fighting game moving forward had an audio sample of the name of the fighter, and this existed before too, I believe. But it's a thing that always happens. You select the character, it doesn't matter. Heihachi Mishima. You get some announcer voice saying it, right? So when the thing goes through, what is it? Kano, Liu Kang, Sonya, Johnny Cage, Raiden, Scorpion, Sub-Zero. Or whatever the order is. Those are, I believe, Ed Boon's voice. And Midway owned the intellectual property that was Ed Boon's recording of the voice from the game that was used in the game, right? That sample, that file, that is copywritten. So they made an album of music that included some samples, and one of the songs on it was called Techno Syndrome. There was another one called Hypnotic House that did a similar thing but had a completely different musical style. I believe what happened is that Midway sued and won and had the rights to distribution of their music or something, because it was then used, and I'm not sure how much the Immortals got paid in the first Mortal Kombat movie, and it since has basically become the theme from Mortal Kombat. Dun 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 dun. I'll probably end up getting a copyright claim on this video. Not that they'll be able to do anything about it, not that it will affect anything, but I will end up having a thing, or you'll get a little whatever. Like, they are that tight on the intellectual property. So my comment to this dude had something to do with this reaction channel guy. My comment had something to do with, first off, I'd be interested to see whether they try and strike your channel, because this is a cover, but we'll see. Then in the comment, I told a story, which I will now tell you. The two groups involved are the Immortals. These are the intellectual property creators of Techno Syndrome, authors or composers, or I don't know what the term is for their specific situation. Then the other group is called the Auralnauts, or just Auralnauts. A-U-R-A-L, as in audio. Auralnauts have done a lot of really cool stuff over the years. They do very cool electronic music, EDM, various styles. They do funny videos. They do what I think made them the most fame was their Star Wars Jedi Party Edition, which then became a full 6-parter. Rumor is that they're working on a 7th part, and that excites me greatly. But I think they're going to end up taking all of the third trilogy, condensing it into one. I'm not sure they're going to do all 3 of them. That would be hilarious if they did, because it's going to give them a lot to work with to really make fun of it and expand the Jedi Party universe. Jedi Party is its own continuity. Obi-Wan is the father of Luke, and Vader is the father of Leia in that story. It's interesting. So, Auralnauts did a segment on, I believe, one of their... Yeah, it was the scene where Yoda dies in Jedi, and Yoda is recounting to Duke Dirt Farmer, not Luke Skywalker, the time that DJ Dooku premiered his new track, and all of the Jedi were there, and it was the biggest dance fight ever. And so then it flashes back to the Geonosis, I think it's on Geonosis, the arena scene with the frickin' 1,000 Jedi battle. And the music for the dance fight is this Jedi party instead of Mortal Kombat. And it kind of almost sounds like, you know, they changed a couple notes, but it's like they changed a couple notes of Techno Syndrome. And they got struck hard for this song. Immortals were like, you can't do that. And it's like, dude, it's a parody. Yes, they can. But the rules on YouTube are different. So they lost monetization for that or something. I don't know. Immortals got monetization for that. And they released the song itself as a separate track, and it had all kinds of issues with that. So then what they did was, and that track was the one with the one of the Auralnauts speaking the names of various Jedi and other Star Wars characters in an Ed Boonish style. So then they released one called Mortality Fight that further parodied the parody and was written very precisely in such a way to avoid copyright infringement while also emulating the general sense of what they were trying to accomplish, with the specific intent of having people download this song for free off of their website and then feel free to upload the video, and if YouTube gives you a copyright strike, fight it and we will okay it, and you'll get the video up. And you can monetize it, you can do whatever you want with it. The point being that they knew that as soon as they had put this video up, Immortals were going to come after them for Mortality Fight. And they were going to lose, but because they were still the intellectual property holders for Mortality Fight and not Techno Syndrome, any other examples of Mortality Fight that happen to come up that might get copyrighted back to them were going to be made free to put out. Which meant that, in the end, all the Immortals did was stop the Oral-Knots from making money on their own song. But what the Oral-Knots did was made it so that the Immortals could not pull any further instances of that song and that other people could monetize it. So, the moral of the story is, don't get so focused on winning battles that you lose the war. Good day, everyone.